Where is the real Jon Meacham? Jack Willard here. Has Jon Meacham been abducted? Is this like a male version of the Stepford Wives? They took Jon Meacham and turned him into a robot that is nothing like what I perceived him to be. A brilliant man. I would have said that for any number of years. Liked him very much. Saw him on Bill Maher. They run Real Time with Bill Maher on CNN. I saw it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So now on the Trusted Name in News, you're hearing full-scale profanity. You're hearing the wit and sharpness of Bill Maher. He can be brilliant. It always seems like he wants to totally disavow the Democratic Party. He has said, Bill Maher, that I didn't leave the Democratic Party, it left me. Some very smart people have said that, but it doesn't seem like Jon Meacham is one of them. It just doesn't seem like the same man. He didn't have a long time to make his points on Real Time, but there he was defending Joseph R. Biden, literally stating that he is the one who is preserving the Constitution. If Jon Meacham lives long enough, and he should, to write about the history of the Biden presidency, he will have to sell out everything he knows about journalistic integrity to portray our president in a good light. And I just can't help but think a number of years back, he would have known that. Joe Biden and those that are leading him along are doing everything they can to shred the Constitution. They're pushing for a socialist progressive agenda which is taking away rights, forcing their will on the people that elected them. They don't care anything about the people that elected them. They're a brood of vipers, so many of them. So many of them. When you look at Adam Schiff, who never apologized for the big Russiagate thing, he was censored in the Congress and said, I'll wear it as a badge of honor. Saying, yeah, I got that wrong. I'm sorry about that. No, that's not in him. Nadler and the squad, these are people that hate America. You don't make observations of that, Jon Meacham. You don't make observations of the hate that's going on, that we seem to have reverted back 50 years in terms of the Jewish people in America. Jewish students in New York City afraid to go to class, being threatened and what have you. What about the whole BLM time? Those riots that went on, black businesses were burned, senior citizens were terrorized. Kamala Harris gave her full support to BLM. Yes, President Biden picked a woman who dropped out of her own race for the presidency real quick because nobody wanted her. He picked her, even though she inferred he was a racist during the debates. Even, I'm told, Jill Biden, who knew what America was getting if her husband should become elected, so I don't really have any respect for her. Even she didn't want Kamala Harris, who is now a heartbeat away from the presidency. All because of this hate, this rage over Donald Trump. Donald Trump, admittedly a flawed man, but he had the economy booming, gas as low as $1.80 a gallon. He had no wars going on. I think, as an historian, if you looked at all the facts, you could make the point, Jon Meacham, that the whole war in Ukraine would have never happened if President Trump had won a second term. And now, just yesterday, we approve another $66 billion to the Ukraine. And if you question that, oh, you're an isolationist. You're an isolationist. You don't want to help anybody. That's just not true. That's a lie that is being promoted. No, we understand that you cannot win a war against Vladimir Putin. He has the best nuclear weapons. The only reason he hasn't destroyed Kiev, or Kiev as we used to call it, is because he knows that could easily involve Poland. They could miss, or if he used tactical nukes, it would make its way over to Poland, and then we would have no choice but to be in World War III. We could see the annihilation of our country. President Biden, Jon Meacham, has brought us much closer. And you've got to be smart enough to know that if you really are Jon Meacham, because there's a few people that seem that they have become victims to the invasion of the body snatchers. The invasion of the body snatchers. So we had a booming economy. We had our leaders like Xi, and even in North Korea, we were making things work with Kim Jong-un. When they think your president is a little crazy, they're more careful. When they think your president is a cognitive mess that can't put two sentences together and doesn't know which way to exit this stage, that may have done other things. Have you really looked, Jon Meacham, at what Comer and Jim Jordan have put forth? If Biden is guilty of influence peddling from the time he was a U.S. senator on up, you know what that means. You know that makes him unfit for office and worse. You know that. So you have to hide your face because this gets you a good job on MSNBC? Can you explain this to us, Jon Meacham? I know I'm not a big enough of an outlet for you to come on and tell us here. I'm somewhat successful. You want to go where the big boys are, but you really need to answer for this lack of insight that you seemingly have. That based on a hate for Donald Trump, you have lost your ability to properly decipher history. You are no longer an historian. You are now a mouthpiece for the progressives who are trying to destroy America. Look at what is happening. Look at what is happening at Columbia University. Look at what is happening in Chicago, Seattle, New York City, with crime, them literally just going into the store brazenly and taking everything they want. New York City is now beginning to look like the Kurt Russell movie, Escape from New York. Do you not notice that, Jon Meacham? Oh, it's really sad when one of your heroes of the past. I had to deal with Joe Manchin taking a deal with Biden, and then he got bit. He got bit in West Virginia. Like him. I used to like many of the CNN anchors. I would have considered them worth watching and did watch them. I didn't always agree with them, of course, but it has now become open season on hating America and wanting to fundamentally change the core values of America. Make it so that there's going to be nothing left for our kids. What do you say about a $35 trillion debt, Jon Meacham, and it's added to every minute of the day? What do you say about that? We're going to have nothing for our kids. Do you have grandkids, Jon Meacham? There's not going to be anything left for him. We're spending it all now. The tax and spend Democrats have become radical progressive socialists, and you should be coming against that. You should be coming against that. So I don't know what to say. I'm just shocked. What about 9 million immigrants that just waltzed into this country, overwhelming the budgets of New York City, Chicago? We took out all the rules. We put in Mayorkas, who wanted that to happen all along. What have you got to say about that, Jon Meacham? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? So we have a vice president that's not ready to assume the office. We have a president in serious cognitive decline, and you're on real time defending him. It took Bill Maher during his new rules to speak real wisdom. It didn't come out of your mouth, Jon Meacham, but he talked about how we're trying to um, uh, push things like drag queen shows down our little children's throats. Seeing a 5-year-old tipping a drag queen at a drag queen show. Have we lost our minds? Have we lost our minds? The EV thing is going to turn to a nightmare. You got tractor trailer trucks that need to go thousands of miles and they have to charge every 200 miles. You're going to run out of juice on the highway when you get caught in a traffic jam. The charging stations will be backed up for miles. The grid will go down in the summer, if not before that. And yet they are hell bent on forcing this, like they really are so naive. They think they're saving the planet. Really? Really? It's not going to play out like that. And the Jon Meacham I knew and respected, in fact revered, would have known all this that I said. But you sat there on Bill Maher and told me that Joe Biden is the man for the United States of America. I think it's a different man, this Jon Meacham. I think you are a victim of invasion of the body snatchers. Jack the Fair Guy, Fair, Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com.